Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. First off, I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the community for backing the HasLab. I know not everyone is a huge fan of crowd-funded projects by billion-dollar companies, but I fully do understand. I can't say I fully agree or fully disagree, but the fact is they're going to give us a wonderful hiss, and I cannot wait to get that in a year and a half from now. But anyway, the reason why we're here today is to take a look at the G.I. Joe classified Cobra Officer. Now, first, let me just start by saying, bear with me through this because right now, some of you may notice if you actually look at my face, it's kind of swollen, and that's because I had a wisdom tooth pulled, so I'm kind of gutting through it. Got a lot of figures coming in, so I do want to get through some reviews, and I don't want to be sitting here doing like 5 or 6 reviews in a day. Not that I have that much stuff, but there's a good amount of stuff coming in. So anyway, that's it. If you wonder why I'm kind of maybe talking a little different, why I seem puffier than normal, that's the reason. So anyway, here is our Cobra Officer. We're coming down to the last of our windowed figures. As we know, Hasbro's going all plastic free. So here you can take a look and see exactly how he looks. And the artwork on the side I really like. The front, it's okay. Use everything he has. His AK-47, his other submachine gun that uses the same clips. His what looks kind of like a Luger style pistol. His knife. His helmet. His harness for the back, and but at first I thought it was a laser scope. It's actually a flashlight. And on the back, there we have it. We'll be losing this shortly too, and then we have the number of 37. So here's the figure out of the package. He looks extremely nice. First glance, you're gonna look and say, "Hey, don't we already have this guy?" And that's a yes and a no. So we're not going to waste any more time. Let's take a look at this. I will mention this. I've done the Cobra Infantry, I've done the Cobra Trooper, and I've also done the O-Ring just recently. So I'll drop links to those videos in the description, so you can go back and take a look at all those. But we're going to look at them. We're going to compare them to the Officer O-Ring, and we're going to compare them to the Classified Trooper and Infantry. So you can see what is different and if it's even worth spending your money to get, but it is an army builder, so there's going to be an abundance of them out there. Alright, so here we look at the figure, and you can see a bunch of figures behind it. And one may ask, how many officers and troopers do you need? And the answer is, there's never enough. So anyway, let's quickly look at this figure. Then we can compare him to the O-Ring. And then we'll compare him to the Classified, and you guys can take a look and decide if you want to look at maybe replacing your figure, adding it, or finally getting one. So, taking a quick look at him, he looks absolutely awesome. I really do like it. We'll start with the AK-47, which this is going to be my biggest gripe. I'll just say that right off the bat, if I can even get this thing off here. So it's kind of small, in my opinion, or maybe it's properly sized. So over here, if you look here, I have a Valiverse one. I'll pop this off. I mean, I use this. Now, I think this AK-47 is actually a little bit too big for 6-inch figures, but I think this one comes off as a little too small. So one in between would be nice. I think this one has a detail more of what an AK-47 I think of, but this one has some nice little detail to it. Oops. It's got the brown, so they put some paint apps on it. Here's your flashlight. Now the flashlight does come off. There we go. So there's your flashlight. It is honestly a pain to get on. So I'm not even going to sit here and fight with it. Removable clip, which honestly falls out a little too easy. So if they're going to continue to make weapons like this, I would hope they would maybe fix this, because anytime your hand kind of seems to touch it, it just falls out. And I do like that it is a dual threat, so it can also work with this weapon, which in all honesty, I think this one actually looks way cooler. So in the beginning of it, you can actually see how I did two different pictures. I like this, it's smaller, and I don't know, it looks cool. But obviously I want an AK-47 to go with my officer. And here you have his back piece. So this thing can actually hold either weapon. All right, now there is a spot right there that the sight goes into, so it doesn't go too far. So if you want to put that on his back, you can also take the AK-47 and slide it in also. So it's cool. Once again, dual threat. I like the fact that they've done that. If I can get it out. All right, so we'll quickly take a look here. He's got a knife on the side. All right, it's obviously has this paint app, so it is silver. So it's just not one full black one like the original ones we used to get. On the back here, you have a spot for his for a flashlight, and then you have your extra mag right there, and it fits in pretty nicely. I carried him up the stairs, so once it's in pretty nice. Then you have his sidearm, which these guys are kind of bulky here, so not all that easy to get out. And again, it looks kind of like a Luger, which would be an old style weapon that you really wouldn't use. And then he also has a removable helmet. So, and by looking at the color of him, he is a darker skinned figure, kind of like the Cobra Trooper was a darker skin figure, but the Cobra Trooper was purely a white figure. So it's pretty cool. I like that. Even though there's not much to the figures, a skin tone, you do see a big difference here. So articulation is the same as any other G.I. Joe. T-pose all the way up, no problem. No pinless joints, because as you'll find out, he uses pretty much the same mold as these figures. So he does have the double elbows. This is obviously getting in the way a little bit. Double knee joints. Goes up all the way. Boot cut. Thigh cut. On here, because these are broken apart, which is nice, he does have the ab crunch that you can actually use, where on these figures you really can't because of the vest. He does have drop down legs. Not a big fan of that. They always feel like they're going to break. And I think that's about it. Swivels back and forth. You know, the head, you can pop it off if you want. All right, so let's get into a couple of the cool nuances, and we'll take a first look at comparing him to our original O-Ring. Now, I did the same thing with these figures, but I do believe I compared it to this figure back here. So here's my original O-Ring. Now, what I am going to do, rather than move him around and he's going to fall down, is I'll use this one. And other than the gray up here, which is lighter, and you can clearly see how gray this is, it's closer to this tone. All right, so pop off the AK-47, open up his arms, and right off the bat, you're gonna look, they both have the silver Cobra symbol. Now the vest is where you see a lot of detail, and I absolutely love what they did. So you're looking at this vest here, you have the gray harness up here, and then the gray pouch here, which is the same as this one. And as you look at it, he has 4 pouches, one being gray. They followed and did exactly what the original Cobra officer did, and I absolutely love that attention to detail. The knife here is now on the side, and then you have the knife on the side here, but when you look at the two, they look very similar. So they clearly took kind of what it's more like a dagger here and did the same thing here. They also took the belt, and you see it has a little hole here. I'm sorry, round, not hole. It's round. Well, the original one is also round. So, and they put the little pouches right on the side, which is pretty cool. I like that. And then you go ahead and you look right here. It's clearly like two marks that will show off that he's the officer. And they kind of did the same thing here, except they went all the way around. So again, a little bit more detail that they followed. The helmet has the officer V or mark, whatever it is. His helmet does come off, and it is a different head sculpt due to the fact that you can see this is more in line with this. So, and then from the back, you kind of have the same H strap right there, and this is an H strap right there. So that's nice. Again, they did a really good job. I really do like it. They gave him different boots. So that's how it compares to the original O-Ring, even though this is not the original O-Ring. I just did a comparison of the two. So, so now what we're going to do is we'll take a look at one of these figures. So there's a difference between the Cobra Infantry and the Cobra Trooper. I've gone over that before, and like I said, you can follow links in the description if you really want to know. So I will pop this off of him, and right off the bat, the thing that's different is he has a vest. Okay, he does not have a vest. He has the harness like the original, but the legs, the knees, and the lower legs, okay, are the same. Boots are different. I believe the chest pieces are different. The abs are probably the same. I'm not taking this off. I've never taken one of these off. But the chest piece is clearly different, as you can see how it is. But the arms are the same all the way to the gloves, and the gloves are different. So they did make some changes, but still reused a lot of the mold. They've reused this mold on many, many, many different figures. I'm trying to think here. But they've reused the mold a bunch of times. Major Blood even uses a lot of it. So the face sculpt is where you see a real big difference here. Again, he has the mask, which we all know about because we've been wearing them for 2 years, where these guys have a much more modern design, and I really do like that. I would love for them to do an O-ring version of this guy. There's a couple things that I did notice. Now, let's say you want to modify some things, and you're like, I like the way this guy looks, and I want to make him my Cobra officer. The helmet fits on him perfect. No issues whatsoever. So how does this helmet fit on the Cobra officer? Not so well. I guess it doesn't look that bad, but it kind of sits too far up, and I'm not really sure why it's like that. Clearly he's got a bigger head towards the back. So if I change this over, you can see it hangs over, and even with this helmet, it doesn't sit as flat against it. So pretty cool there. They gave him the same armband, but this one is gray, has a Cobra insignia. Clearly this is showing that he's an officer, and this one is painted differently, but it is the same armband, but painted with different insignias on it. But there they are. That's the two different, well, these are two of the different ones. These two are pretty much the same other than some paint. So once we load him up, got his pistol, goes in right there. And on the back, we got the ammo clip. This is never easy on camera. All right. This thing just kind of pops right on there. Pretty nice. Here, we will attempt to, so you can see where the slot is, right there. This thing, now mind you, I'm like 5'4". I got small hands, so you can see how small this thing is when I'm trying to do it. And it just pushes on. Okay, that time it went on pretty easy. So maybe because I already put it on once, but I had a hard time getting it on the first time. So you look at it, it doesn't look bad. I like the way it looks. It's not bad. I don't like the stock. I wish it was a standard normal stock like we had with the O-Ring. So this is a small gripe that I'm gonna have is they gave us now holes so we can use blast effects. So here are some Valiverse blast effects, and they do plug in there, but it's very loose. So you'd have to use some sort of sticky tack or something just to kind of hold it in there. Where every other one that I've used, especially with the Valiverse, like here's the Valiverse one, it slides in there. I'm not gonna have to worry about it falling out. If I use this here, that's supposed to be the same size plug. It just falls right out. Same with that one. Same thing. So that's a couple of the issues. Again, not too big of a deal. All right. So kind of plug this in. It kind of looks like, it looks a lot like his when he has one of his weapons hanging off of him. I've always thought that was kind of cool. So there's your AK-47 with the flashlight. And I do like the flashlight. I think the flashlight could be used pretty nicely taken off doing photography. So there you have him completely loaded out. All right, let's wrap it up. All right, so there you have it. That's the Cobra Officer. He's a really nice looking figure. Personally, I like the infantry and the trooper better. Even though this gives me the feels with the mask. I mentioned before the Cobra Officer was always one of my favorites. There's just something about those troopers. I think I would love for them to do an O-Ring version of those with like the metal mask. I think they're really cool. That's what I'm really trying to say. This one here obviously looks like the original. Again, the AK-47, like you can see, this thing it moves all the time. So I'm not a fan. I can see so many people losing the clips. And unfortunately, the Valiverse ones, which I have an abundance of, don't fit with these. They're way too small. But for the most part, I would say 50% of his mold is the exact same. Again, he does have the butterfly joints. I forgot to mention that. But again, same arms, different gloves, different boots, same legs. Upper chest piece is different and a different head mold. But again, a really nice figure. I think they're doing, again, what they're doing with the Class Sci-Fi line is absolutely wonderful. That hiss blowing through the first 2 tiers in less than 2 days says that this line is going to be around for quite some time. So, if you're on the fence now, again, I'm kind of surprised you've been watching this, but let's say you're an old school G.I. Joe fan, you're on the fence, this is it. I think he's worth getting. He's worth army building for the most part. And to be honest, you can start mixing and matching. I haven't even bothered. Obviously, I just got him in today, and like I said, this here, I thank you for anyone that's still listening and had bear with me. But yeah, nice looking figure. So I'm gonna get out of here. I really do mean it this time. Hopefully I feel much better tomorrow because I have Storm Shadow and Spirit coming, and I would really love to get those ones reviewed as I have them sitting right there. Oh, Spirit fell down. And you can see that I have Clockmaster who's waiting, but I guess because Hasbro Pulse is sending that out UPS, which is probably the absolute worst delivery service ever, who knows when I'll have that. I actually got charged for the Snake Eyes Fortnite today, and it shipped today, and I'm supposed to have it on Saturday through FedEx, so I don't get it. I hate UPS. But, you know, I'm rambling, and I'm on medication, so it's probably double. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Social medias, Twitter, A Punk with Toys, Instagram, A Punk with Toys. And once again, have a wonderful night, and happy toy hunting.